Dolan from API Fortress. Show of hands, who here uses APIs on a fairly regular basis? It's actually all of you. If anyone here has a smartphone, you're using APIs. Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, every single one is powered by APIs. APIs are sort of the pipes that run the internet. And everyone's using it constantly, but the dirty little secret that those of us who have been building APIs, I was working at Getty Images, for example, as their API evangelist, the dirty little secret is that we're actually not testing them at all. We test websites, we test apps. We're doing remedial testing of the APIs that power them. So my co-founder and I, a few years ago, tried to figure out why is that. And one of our main theses was that with websites and with apps, they have something called Selenium. It's basically drag and drop intuitive UI to automate the testing of it so that a QA can do it. They don't have that solution yet for APIs. And so that's what we've done. We built a drag and drop GUI interface. So for those that don't know, this is an API. It's literally just text. It's not complicated. People have heard the term. They think it's this big fancy thing. Just a block of text. And, you know, objects like success, status is a 200, blah, blah, blah. So what we've done in our platform is we've allowed you to very easily and quickly, using a GUI interface, to actually test it. I was logged in a while ago, but now I'm not. All right, yes, helps. I think I know how this works. All right, so, oh God, look at this resolution, Jesus. Who came up with this system? Oh, here we go. All right, so it looks like garbage with a 800 by 700, but what you can do is you actually can post, make a simple API call, similar to what you've seen in Postman, if anyone here has used Postman. And so we'll actually make the call here, and this is the API in a better formatted view. You can see how it works, you know, modes, fast, regular. This is a basic product API for an e-commerce site. And so by clicking on this little button that we call Magic, you can actually automatically create the test. And the test gets built for you. So what's unique about our test is that we're not just testing if it's up or down, which there are a couple tools out there that can do that. They can tell you if it's up or down. That's just a ping test. What we do and what you see here is an actual test to verify each object within the API. So for example, we'll see that we're making sure that available. So like, you know, when you're working with retail APIs, you have to make sure the product's available when they're shopping. Available must be Boolean. That means true or false. Next available must exist. Time zone type has to be an integer. We automatically create these very intelligent tests that make sure that you're not getting false positives. You don't want to do a one-to-one test. You want to do a smarter, more flexible test for that API. And then from there, you schedule it to run every 5 minutes from the East Coast, West Coast, what have you. And then you just play with it from there. All of this information is tracked. We have logs. And so when there is an error, you get notified and sent a test report that very explicitly tells you what occurred. So, you are the worst. So in this test, for example, this is Etsy. I think it was today's test. What you see here is under recipient. Recipient's actually what they use for categories. So men, women, I think they have owls because they're from Brooklyn, they're terrible. And what they have here, and this is actually occurring for 3,000 out of their 50,000 products, instead of one of these 17 items, which is what it's supposed to be, even if it's not specified, it should say not specified, it's coming in as null. Null is API speak for nothing. So that means literally they have 3,000 items that you cannot find through browsing Etsy.com under like men's scarves. It's not the products aren't associated with men's scarves, you won't find it. And this is a significant issue. This is an example of an actual real-world monetary issue that they're having. And so that's API Fortress in a nutshell. Create a test without writing any code, schedule it to run as much as you want from wherever you want, get notified when there's an issue. That's it. I guess questions? Yes.
Do you have support at this point for complex session-based multiple back and forths? I mean, my API is typically used, you know, in the context of a logged-in session, which, you know, hits a bunch of different things.
Yeah, so you have to create it in a very. So he's asking about much more complicated ways of getting authorization to an API. And so what we've done was we've actually onboarded about 200 APIs ourselves, and every time we reach a wall, we build something to fix it so that our users won't have that issue. And so we've actually found a lot of ways to work around that, specifically around like having variables. You have to, every call you make, you have to start with like getting a token, then using that token in your next call. So we actually have a lot of tests that do that. And when you log in and create an account, you have examples, and one of our examples shows you specifically how you can do that. Because that's the big barrier with working with APIs, is actually getting to it. Once you've gotten to it and you've gotten through the security, because there's this really cool thing like 3 years ago where everyone wanted to make their API super secure and they overdid it. So they've made it too complicated to use their own APIs, and so it's backtracking a bit, but we've built for complexities in API calls as much as we can. If you find a new one, love to hear about it. Any? Yes.
It's like a monthly service or a yearly, what's your subscription like, or what's your?
Currently, we're doing a monthly subscription. You have a free account, then you have a basic account and a premium account. The real differentiator is in how many tests you can create and how often you can run the tests. So you can create like 5 tests, and then you could run it every 30 minutes, or you want to upgrade that and test it every 5 minutes. Because something that we do is we're really focused on making sure that the API is accurate, but everyone else is focused on up or down time, so we also do that. So if you want to do proper uptime and SLA monitoring, you really want to test every 5 minutes. You want to go for a higher account level. Yes?
What's your approach to doing a business proof of concept?
It's pretty easy. If it's someone with an API and they have a website with a developer portal, we actually onboard one of their APIs, and then we go into the meeting. I have already one of their tests set up. I did that this morning, actually. It makes it a lot simpler that way, or before going into the meeting, we'll ask. Or since we've onboarded so many APIs, there's usually a relevant business. I already have an example built in to show them. Because it's very easy to show you guys, like, hey, this is how it'll work, but you actually give them concrete evidence of how it can affect them. It's a much easier communication level.
So just sign an NDA and then go.
Not even an NDA. We're not even worried about it. Just we create a free account. Anyone can log in and do whatever they want. The one thing my co-founder and I say all the time is that we haven't revolutionized anything. We just got here first, and we'll see how long we're first. Yes?
So this is something that can be used by front-end people. You don't have to own the API.
Correct. About 33% of our customers are actually testing third-party APIs. So let's say you're an app builder and your app depends on Instagram. You want to know if Instagram went down because it affects your app. So if your customers complain, but you got a warning, you know, well, I can't do anything about it right now because it's Instagram themselves that's having an issue. Yes?
Is API the new word for web service?
Yes. Literally, they just started using the word API. It was TechCrunched. And we all are now confused. It's like HTML5 was actually just JavaScript baloney, but we all called it HTML5, and it was easier to sell that way. So I sold HTML5 for 5 years, and it was just JavaScript the whole time. Yes?
Can you expose any APIs yourself or integrate with any others?
Yeah, our entire platform is actually API based, because our real goal is actually partnerships with API managers and API designers. Our platform can be entirely white labeled, so that it doesn't even have to say API Fortress. I think it's a Mashery in the top left corner, using Mashery because they don't exist anymore, so I think I'm allowed to. Any more API questions? No? All right, thank you very much. I'm Patrick at API Fortress.